Come along this journey as we try the Macallan 12 year, where Edward talks about fruit from the wrong side of the tracks.
It's a fruit that'll knock you out hard.
I make some questionable fashion choices.
Like a 5-inch heel on that.
And Edward makes comparisons from the back of a bottle to English literature.
I feel like some people's notes are so complex, they're like trying to reinvent Shakespeare. Hey brother,
So,
I have the Macallan, something a little bit sophisticated.
ooh, I think it's a bit too tiny for us.
It's very thin and tall.
Ooh.
It is the second tallest bottle in my collection.
Ooh, that means it's better. The taller is better.
That's it. My tallest one is the Blue Label. It's like putting whiskey on stilettos.
Like a 5-inch heel on that.
But it looks nice and bluish. But we're here today to talk about the Macallan 12-year Sherry Oak cask. They've got some interesting little setups in their lineup. They've got a whole spectrum of different ones, from single cask to double to triple cask. But we're just looking at the single cask today. Macallan actually has a really interesting setup with their distillery. They spent like 5 years rebuilding the distillery, and they got this weird concentric circle design of making their whiskey. So each circle basically does a different part of the process until they get to the final distillation process. So it actually looks super interesting and modern, and I feel like their bottle design helps represent that too.
And I'm going to go on a limb here and say you've been enjoying some of this.
Tell you what, this is something that's grown on me over time. My personal experience is doesn't hold up well to ice.
Okay.
I think you've got to have it neat.
Thins out too easily.
Yeah, I find you lose a lot of the experience, and I think that's what happened at the start. You know, it was a bit warm, so I was putting the stones in as I do, and I could taste it, but I felt like it was just lacking something. And then the other night, I was like, let's just try it neat. All of a sudden, it really helped elevate and allow me to detect those extra flavors, which kind of disappeared away. So I would, personal opinion, take it neat.
Okay, yeah. So you can detect those shoots.
Yeah, that's it. Those extra little, these snooty noties. And I do look at a bottle of Macallan and think, you know, that's a bit more higher class. And I think they're really targeting that quite well. Because I look at it, I'm like, that's a, kind of like a sleek, sexy bottle right there.
It kind of looks like it just has a little V-neck on.
Yeah. It's like the tuxedo of whiskey glasses. The lid, the design, this was all one single piece. So you couldn't even see the cork, you had to peel it off. It just looked like a premium setup on their bottling and that. So I quite like it. Shall we pour a little dram, my brother?
I like it.
A wee drop. Oh yeah.
Ooh.
The coloration is a rich gold, and I do think they've really nailed that on the head.
Yeah, it is
Nice.
quite a deep sort of a dark gold there, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm quite happy with that. On the nose, you should see complex with hints of vanilla.
Yeah, very short notes on that one.
Yeah, that's it. That's what they got. I don't mind. And this is from Macallan's official site, as in simple notes.
Yep.
I feel like some people's notes are so complex, they're like trying to reinvent Shakespeare, which isn't always the need. And I feel like if you give people too many notes, they can't find them all. So yeah, I can start to detect vanilla, and I'm getting something else as well. I think it's fruitiness. Our palate isn't super refined. And sometimes I like reading the notes and see what we can find.
Yeah, I kind of like that, because then you can go on your own journey and that sort of find things out a little bit for yourself. Yeah, it's just like a little bit harsh on the nose, I feel. Is that a bit for you, or?
It is a
I'm
little
getting
bit stronger.
quite the alcohol, sort of.
My best definition is a hard fruit, as in not like it's a fruit that'll knock you out hard.
Like a stone fruit, or
like a fruit.
It's a rock.
A fruit that's got a sharp, strong taste. That's what I'm getting on the nose. And a little bit of vanilla in there too. Got a little bit of hit, you know there's alcohol in there.
Yeah, I always like to know there's alcohol in there.
Yeah. On the palate, you should be looking for a smooth, medium balance with fruit, oak and spice, and that should finish with the same flavours.
You can definitely detect that spice.
I'm getting a bit of fruity oakiness, but yeah, the spice is the longest finish for me.
It's a bit more bite than some of the others at 40 that we've had, sort of thing, but nothing sort of overbearing. I wouldn't say that it was rough or anything like that.
Yeah.
Just lets you know this is an alcoholic drink you were drinking.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting, my main themes are fruity and spicy. And it feels it's like that tingly spice, like, you know when you eat some chili and it's just hanging around a little bit afterwards? And I would say more of a Tabasco chili than like chopped up chili.
I'm just barely getting sweet caramel sort of a note, but nothing too much, but just the hints of that sort of seem to just dance and pick over my tongue.
Just a gentle frolic along the taste buds. So a nice little introduction to the Macallan estate. They do have plenty of other things in their selection, but I think this is a good moderate value one. Give or take a few dollar-doos around that $100 mark. So they definitely are positioning themselves a little bit high on the mark, and I think they've kind of really knocked out a niche in the market. They've really established a specific name, and people do love it. So they're in the millions of bottles of production. So it is something that does appear to be enjoyed right around the world. And actually in their distillery, they've got a funny setup. So they get the larger barrels compared to your standard, American oak that comes over. And I think they call them sherry butts. And then of that, there's like 80% of their entire stock is the bigger ones. And then 20% of their stock is the smaller ones that they use and mix it in. So they got fewer barrels at their distillery, but they're just bigger barrels. So they're worth like 2 times what the other ones are. And then that's how they go. They got more modern housing, and they still got some of the older aging houses as well there.
Yeah, it's really funny that how much those little things can really affect the overall end taste of things. Like, how much wood versus liquid you have in it, and the temperatures where it is, and how it's distilled. And to be a master distiller, you must have to know a lot of things.
Yeah, a lot of time and experience, and a lot of tasting as well.
Yeah, that's the good part. Yeah, and you guys know what to do. Do all the things down below and all that sort of stuff. Give us, share us some love, or at least even a like.
Clicky, clicky, likey, likey. You like us, we like you. And we're the Hopeless Brothers.
Oh, that just ran up to the back of my throat and punched my tonsils.
My empath predicts that this will be slightly bitter.
It is. It's almost like I think it's no, that's classified as straw, isn't it?
We're making port.